Final film Zero Dark 30. Zero Dark 30 is god-awful. Like, oh my god. Like, I mentioned about Silverline's Playbook, how there's very little bad I can say about it. Zero Dark 30 is the complete opposite. There is very little good I can say about Zero Dark 30. It's, oh my... It's, where do I... Okay, I'll start with the beginning. Which, the beginning is... One thing, it's only... The only other movie I can think of that really has this was Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close from last year. But it's a trend that I hope doesn't pick up, because I realize something that's irritated me, to no end. The movie starts out basically utilizing 9/11 as cheap sympathy. And I hate that, because it is so lazy and just so cheap. Like, you don't feel like it was done because, like, oh, we want to memorialize this great American tragedy. No, it was done because you want people talking about the fact that you put 9/11 in your movie and generating buzz when you haven't actually done anything impressive or worth seeing a movie over. And I hate that, because it feels dirty in a way. But that's the least of the film's problems. I think the lead actress category for this year's Oscar is very dry. Was very dry. Like I said, I like Jennifer Lawrence. Emmanuelle Riva from Amour. I didn't talk about her too much, but she does a pretty good job in her role. Who was the other person? I forget who. There's one that I feel I haven't seen the movie for it, so I can't criticize their performance. But then there's also the little girl who no one can pronounce her name, who I already said I don't think deserves to be in the category. Jessica. What was Katrine? Why am I blanking on this now? Why am I blanking on this now? But the lead actress of this movie, I mean, she was okay. It was the one okay part of the movie, I think. But I honestly don't think she was anything to phone home about either. She doesn't really deserve the Oscar, in my opinion. Just, the writing in general is just poop. Poop is the best word I can use to describe it, I think. Because it's just so hackneyed. Look at me pulling out these million-dollar words. This is a non-movie. That's, like, as you may know, it's a movie about the capture of Bin Laden. First off, if the 9/11 thing wasn't, you know, a sign enough, they made a movie based off an event that happened literally about 2-3 years ago. If I'm remembering my dates correctly. That is pretty, I mean, that's pretty obvious, capitalizing on this real-life military operation, which I don't like. I don't feel like this was something done, like, let's memorialize this so that future generations can, you know about, kind of like Lincoln was, which Lincoln did it well. But, you see, if it was that, you'd think they'd at least wait a while. Wait more, give it more time. Because everyone knows this story already. I mean, I'm not... basically, you're just better off reading about it. Just go read on Wikipedia what happened. And it's honestly, like, remember how Argo added conflict, added some fake conflict, some stuff that didn't happen, because it's a movie, and, you know, you need, like, exciting and dramatic events because it's a movie. Zero Dark 30 completely ignores that. I get the feeling this was probably the closest, like, based on a real story movie to what actually happened. But it turns out to be a bad thing in this case, because it's such a boring movie. Like, here's the thing, it's like, especially the climax, which is like, okay, we need to go in and kill Osama. Okay, we went in and killed Osama. It's such a... if you can't make... and that's my problem with, like, this is kind of, like, a weird thing to talk about, but because it's a movie, I kind of have to. I need to talk about Osama bin Laden as a villain. Not as, like, the real-life terrorist, but as the villain for this fictional movie. In that respect, he is a sucky villain. Because, here's the thing. I'm really curious. I haven't looked around too much, but I'm really curious about what non-American audiences think about this movie. Because I can't imagine it, because this is a very American, it was a very pretty, well, I guess there was still terrorism around the globe, but this specifically was a very American problem. And that's the thing, the movie, if you're not American and aren't aware of the events, the specific events that occurred, the movie gives you no reason to care. At all. Like, okay, yeah, people die, there's, like, you know, terrorist bombings and stuff, but it's not treated with any sort of tragedy. Well, it's treated as a tragedy, of course, but it's not given enough context, I guess, to where you... Okay, weird example to use, Lion King. See, the whole reason why, like, Mufasa's death is, like, considered, like, the crushing of many childhoods is because you spent a couple scenes, you know, kind of establishing Mufasa as this, you know, this fierce but very caring, you know, very strong and able. You built some time up with him, you know, spending time with Simba, which is what made his death and Simba's reaction to it, you know, that's what made it have an impact, because it you know, gave you emotion to show you why you should care. Zero Dark 30 says, screw that, and just... It very much assumes that you are somebody who was affected in some way by these events, which I guess in today, like, in 2013 is okay since it's such recent, but as a movie objectively is really bad, because 50 years from now, when people are still going to be alive, it's going to be such a distant thing that it won't feel like there's any reason. You won't feel the impact. And that's what it needs, because it's a drama. It needs impact. And that's the... Okay, spoilers, but I don't really care, because I don't see it anyways. Basically, there's this whole thing where, like, this sort of group that... Jessica Chastain. Yeah, that's her name. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Where, like, her kind of group of CIA buddies, they go to meet this, like, contact that, you know, is supposed to give them a lot of information to where Bin Laden is, but it turns out it's a trap, and he's a suicide bomber, and, you know, everything blows up. I felt nothing, because, it just... Dang it, am I gonna have to cut again?